worked so hard and I can't hear any of the commencement speakers because of the chanting that is pro.
In a shocking moment that sent shockwaves through cable news, Fox News anchor Dana Perino broke down and resigned live on air, leaving her co-hosts speechless and viewers across the country scrambling to rewatch the emotional footage. Known for her calm demeanor, sharp wit, and polished delivery, the former White House press secretary unexpectedly wept during what should have been just another episode of The Five. Her tearful goodbye came without warning or script, catching even the most seasoned viewers off guard. As her voice cracked and tears streamed down her cheeks, she muttered, "I can't do this anymore," and tenderly announced her resignation. What could have pushed the unflappable Perino to this breaking point? Rumors have swirled about mounting internal tensions at Fox News, aggressive pressure from network executives, and even hints of a disturbing off-camera altercation. But beyond the headlines and speculation, this was more than just a resignation, it was a media earthquake. To understand how Dana Perino reached such a raw and public moment, we must look back at her roots. Born in the quiet town of Evanston, Wyoming, and raised near Denver, Colorado, Dana grew up under wide blue skies and was grounded in a home that valued hard work, humility, and speaking with conviction. Her grandfather, a cattle rancher, instilled in her the value of grit, while her father, Leo, required her to read the newspaper aloud at the dinner table, sharpening her voice and mind through nightly family debates. She didn't grow up with political connections or luxury, but she had a strong sense of purpose. While other children played dress-up, Dana was reciting Ronald Reagan's speeches in front of a mirror. Her father's steady encouragement built her confidence word by word. Reflecting on those early years, Dana once said, "I was preparing for the most important stage of my life, but I didn't realize it at the time." Her journey continued with relentless determination. At Colorado State University Pueblo, she majored in public communications, minored in political science and Spanish, and quickly gained a reputation for being articulate, curious, and laser-focused. Her vision was always bigger than herself, to bridge the gap between everyday citizens and those in power. That dream became reality in 2007 when Dana Perino made history as the first Republican woman, and only the second woman ever, to serve as White House press secretary. The ranch girl from Wyoming had found her stage. She found herself on the most influential stage on the planet, answering rapid-fire questions from a relentless press corps. Beneath the silk of her professional demeanor was a spine of steel, as Dana Perino handled the pressure with poise, intellect, and unwavering discipline. But even the strongest individuals can only carry so much for so long. Her journey to that podium wasn't one of privilege, but of perseverance. As a college student, she worked the 2 a.m. shift at a country music radio station, while her peers partied or slept. It turned out to be one of the most formative experiences of her life. Even half asleep, she was learning to communicate clearly and consistently. More importantly, she was cultivating a habit of self-discipline, showing up prepared, even when no one else was watching. That work ethic followed her all the way to the White House. Dana's first brush with political journalism came at Capital Journal, a modest political program tied to PBS. It lacked glamour, but it sparked something vital in her. The job taught her to think on her feet, explain complex issues simply, and maintain clarity under pressure. She jokingly called it Junior Bear Cub reporting. But it was during that time she realized she belonged in the world of policy, power, and the spotlight. After earning her undergraduate degree, Dana pursued a master's in public affairs reporting at the University of Illinois at Springfield, known for its rigorous curriculum and hands-on fieldwork. She joined WCIA to report on Illinois state politics. No fluff, no filler, just real political journalism. It was there, on the front lines of legislative reporting, that she learned to break down bureaucracy for everyday Americans. By the late 1990s, Dana took a leap of faith and moved to Washington, D.C. Her first role as a staff assistant for Congressman Scott McInnes involved more coffee runs than press releases. But Dana took the job seriously, soaking up everything she could. Her natural media instincts sharpened when she became press secretary to Congressman Dan Schaefer, where she learned to control a narrative, craft persuasive messaging, and stay poised amid criticism. That baptism by fire helped shape her into one of Washington's most composed communicators. Her diligence and calm under pressure earned her the trust of senior officials, and ultimately, the president himself. In 2007, at just 35 years old, Dana Perino became the second woman ever, and the first Republican woman, to serve as White House press secretary. Appearing live on national television each day, she spoke for the President of the United States. Every word she spoke carried immense weight. Every pause mattered. And yet she handled it with grace, compassion, and precision. Addressing students at George Washington University, she once said, "When you work in the White House, it's not about you, it's about serving a higher purpose." But Dana's legacy extended far beyond her time behind the podium. She co-founded Minute Mentoring, a speed networking initiative designed to help young women climb the ladder faster and smarter. Even as she balanced speaking engagements, book tours, and her on-air roles at Fox News, Dana remained devoted to mentoring others. She didn't just live by example, she set the example. Unlike many public figures, she didn't rely on ghostwriters. Whether in her books, briefings, or speeches, she spoke with heart, humor, and a raw honesty that resonated deeply. Her words always felt like a one-on-one conversation with a trusted friend. And while television allowed her to reach millions, Dana eventually discovered that no camera could fully capture the depth of her story. As she would later say in her own words, "TV only tells part of the truth." Books left Dana Perino with a legacy, writing as power and healing. After years of standing behind a podium and defending presidents, Dana discovered a new form of strength, the power of the pen. For her, writing wasn't a publicity move or an act of vanity, it was therapy. It was truth. Returning to her roots, she embraced the silence, the stillness, and the blank page as a space of freedom. When her debut book, And the Good News Is, was published in 2015, it became an instant bestseller. Dana wrote it entirely by hand, pages of yellow legal pads filled with heartfelt recollections, written in longhand, often through tears and occasional smiles. In interviews, she admitted crying during the writing process, but described it as liberating, finally telling her story in her own way. Her second book, Let Me Tell You About Jasper, took everyone by surprise. What began as a private letter to her beloved Vizsla dog blossomed into a national sensation. Jasper wasn't just a pet, he was her gentle side in dog form, a viral Twitter icon, and even a co-star on Fox News. But her third book, Everything Will Be Okay, Life Lessons for Young Women, became her most influential. Released in 2021, it wasn't just a bestseller, it was a survival guide. Dana wrote it with quiet confidence and compassion, addressing imposter syndrome, toxic workplaces, heartbreak, ambition, and resilience. "I wanted to be the voice I didn't have at that age," she said, and that's exactly what she became, a reassuring voice in a noisy world. Behind Dana's success as a writer was her husband, Peter McMahon, a British businessman with sharp wit and unwavering belief in her talent. He reviewed her drafts, offered thoughtful edits, and when the writing became emotionally heavy, he poured the wine. Their peaceful life together, Jasper curled up nearby and the chaos of Washington far behind, created the sanctuary Dana needed to find her voice. "Peter reminded me my voice mattered," she shared. "Readers sense it too. I don't perform in my writing." And indeed, Dana's authenticity shone through. Even before the books, Dana had been known for her composure. During her tenure as White House press secretary from 2007 to 2009, she faced war, economic collapse, and an increasingly combative press corps with grace and clarity. Her secret? Never be taken by surprise. She studied tirelessly, staying up late poring over policy briefs, ensuring she was always prepared. When she left the Bush administration in 2009, she did so with her integrity intact. "You never forget the weight of those walls," she told the Hudson Union Society. "Every syllable was important. Every choice has an impact." To her, it wasn't just a job, it was a calling. Most expected Dana to fade into private life or publish a modest memoir. Instead, she transformed completely, entering the fast-paced world of broadcast journalism. She realized she still had more to say, but no longer from behind a government podium. "I didn't think I wanted to stay in Washington. I had done everything I could," she admitted. That all changed in 2011 with the birth of The Five. The show, which replaced the Glenn Beck program, offered spirited debate and strong opinions in place of traditional news delivery. Dana was one of the original co-hosts, and for the first time, America met the unfiltered Dana Perino. "I wasn't speaking on behalf of someone else anymore," she said. "I needed to discover my own voice." And she did, gracefully, wisely, and with a calm strength that brought balance to the show's fiery exchanges. Forget dating apps. Dana Perino's love story reads like a screenplay by Nora Ephron. It was. In 1997, exhausted from the relentless pace of Washington politics, Dana Perino boarded a flight from Denver to Chicago expecting nothing more than a short, uneventful trip. But fate had other plans. Seated beside her was a charming British man with a heart-melting accent, a warm smile, and, most notably, no wedding ring. That man was Peter McMahon. Within just 2 hours, they fell in love. Peter, who lived across the Atlantic, had 2 children and was 18 years Dana's senior. It wasn't a rom-com script, it was real life. And despite the practicalities and the doubters, Dana followed her heart. She boarded a plane to England, embraced the unknown, and never looked back. A year later, in 1998, they were married. For over 2 decades, Peter has remained Dana's rock. Whether she was writing late into the night or preparing a briefing in the West Wing, he offered unwavering support and love. In a world where ambitious women are often forced to choose between personal fulfillment and professional success, Dana found both, because she chose a man who celebrated her strength rather than threatened by it. That partnership grounded her during the most intense chapters of her career. One of the most surreal experiences of her time as White House press secretary came in 2008, during a press conference in Baghdad. As President George W. Bush stood beside her, an Iraqi journalist hurled 2 shoes at him, a profound gesture of cultural disrespect. The Secret Service leapt into action, and in the chaos, Dana was struck in the face by a boom microphone. "It was unbelievable," she recalled, yet her concern remained fixed on the president's safety. Bruised but unshaken, Dana didn't raise her voice or break composure. She returned to work the next day. The incident, though painful, was symbolic of her career. Take the hit, stay steady, and keep doing the job. Dana Perino wasn't just a conveyor of headlines, she was often at the eye of the storm. From the Iraq War to Hurricane Katrina, she stood at the podium during some of the Bush administration's most turbulent moments. The criticism was constant, the press unforgiving, and public approval ratings waning. Yet Dana remained unshaken. "That job requires a lot of forbearance," she once told Cosmopolitan. Grace under pressure became her trademark. However, even the most composed professionals have moments of misstep. During a live segment of The Five, amid the heated national discourse surrounding the #MeToo movement, Dana commented, "Although it's a difficult circumstance, I do believe that women in the workplace must manage situations in a way that safeguards their careers." The statement ignited immediate backlash. Many perceived it as tone-deaf or dismissive of the movement's central message: justice for victims and accountability for perpetrators. Social media erupted. Critics accused her of victim-blaming and lacking empathy. But Dana didn't deflect. She didn't play the victim or issue an exaggerated apology. She owned it. "I understand why people were upset," she said. That moment, painful as it was, revealed a key truth about Dana Perino: she believes in accountability, including her own. Offended by the backlash to her comment, Dana Perino admitted she had been incorrect in how she presented the issue. She clarified that her intention had never been to silence women, but rather to empower them. For some, that explanation may have come too late, but it showed something rare in political journalism: humility. Perino had always worked under pressure, but even the strongest professionals make mistakes. In another moment that proved costly, she inadvertently revealed sensitive internal information about Fox News during a live episode of The Five. Though it wasn't a national security breach, the details were meant to remain confidential. The reaction was immediate and unforgiving. Headlines labeled her reckless, and social media erupted with accusations of unprofessionalism. For a woman who once served as the voice of the President of the United States, the criticism cut deep. Still, Dana didn't run or make excuses. She met the moment head-on. "I'm the first to own that I made a mistake," she said. "On live TV, things don't always go as planned." But it wasn't the mistake itself that defined the moment. It was the fallout. For the first time in her carefully controlled media career, Dana broke down on air. The emotional weight, the pressure to always be composed, always perfect, briefly cracked her exterior. Viewers saw the woman behind the headlines, vulnerable, human, and tired of having to constantly prove herself. Following the incident, another wave of criticism hit, and this time, it was personal. Rumors began to spread that Dana hadn't earned her place in media and politics, that her appearance, not her ability, had led to her success. Some claimed she had benefited from insider connections or that she was a product of the so-called old boys club. The implication was brutal, that her intelligence, talent, and work ethic weren't enough. That she was merely a token. Dana was devastated. In a rare tearful interview, she addressed the rumor directly, saying, "I will step aside if people genuinely believe that my appearance or political connections have earned me everything. I cannot allow my integrity to be compromised." It wasn't just a defense of her resume, it was a declaration of her worth. Dana had spent her entire career behind the scenes, writing speeches, briefing presidents, holding her own in male-dominated rooms, and never once asking for applause. Now, after years of work, she was being told her career was a lie. But she didn't retreat. She looked straight into the camera and said, "My work, my expertise, and my dedication are the reasons I'm here." Her tears weren't just about one comment or one rumor. They were the result of decades of fighting to be seen and respected in a world that often mistrusts strong women. When her voice broke as she said, "Perhaps I don't belong here if that isn't enough for people," it wasn't a moment of defeat, it was a moment of reckoning. Dana refused to participate in a system that required her to downplay her value to stay accepted. Yet she didn't leave. She didn't give up. She stayed. And in doing so, she showed women everywhere that it's okay to be vulnerable without losing your strength. That moment on live television wasn't just a breakdown, it was a powerful stand. A tearful goodbye? Maybe. But also a testimony to the pressure, heartbreak, and resilience that shaped her career. What do you think led to Dana Perino's emotional moment? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more.